So over the past few weekends, Jesus, in this section of Matthew, chapter 12 and 13, has been giving us all these parables. And it's because he came to reveal the fullness of God, the fullness of truth, the way things really are, what heaven is, what hell is, what God's like, what the church is going to be. And he can't explain it all at once. And heaven is such an immense reality. It's so beautiful and good that he can only explain it in part. And so he gives us all these parables over these weeks to help us piecemeal, put together a bigger picture of what the kingdom of heaven is like. Two of the parables we heard today, I think, are pretty straightforward, pretty easy to understand. Treasure buried in the field, the pearl of great price. The kingdom of heaven, God, is so good, so wonderful, that it's worth selling all that you have to obtain. That if you really acknowledged what's being offered, you wouldn't even hesitate. You'd throw all of it away just so that you could be a part of the kingdom of heaven. Then there's the parable of the net thrown into the sea. Now Jesus, first off, we have to remember he's preaching to a Jewish audience. Ancient Jews would have believed in the Messiah, but they would have thought the Messiah is for them and only for them and is only going to help them. But what was Jesus sure to say? The net collects fish of every kind. He's very intentionally challenging that notion that the Gentiles are going to be a part of salvation as well, that people of every tongue, tribe, nation, all will be gathered into this kingdom. But he also makes clear there'll be a separation. The good from the evil. The good will be placed into buckets, and the evil will be thrown into a fiery furnace where there will be wailing and gnashing of teeth. In my research for my homilies, I will always sit with the scriptures for a while, pray with the scriptures, and sometimes I'll just think about what they say and formulate a homily. Sometimes I'll go to my bookshelf and grab some of my commentaries. If I want to dive a little deeper, maybe research a particular word or a particular subject. And sometimes the Lord just tells me exactly what to say, and I don't have to do all that much work, and it's really nice. None of that happened for this homily. This homily was different. I wasn't even researching. I was just on YouTube, and I came across a Catholic commentator I really like. Watch his videos every now and then. And it was a critique. So last weekend we heard the parable of the weeds among the wheat. His critique was essentially that his priest didn't preach about hell. And it's like the ample opportunity. So I did a little research. I went down the rabbit hole a little bit. And there's a lot of that same criticism being floated around the online world this past week. On social media, all sorts of Catholic commentators have complained that they never hear homilies about hell. And listening to all these watching these videos, reading a couple articles, I came up with two thoughts that I wanted to address in this homily. First, there was this running theme through a lot of these critiques that priests are afraid to preach about hell. Challenge accepted. You laugh. Hell is real. It is a real place. It exists. Jesus confirms its existence in all four Gospels. It's not just like some side teaching. He mentions it in all four Gospels explicitly. It is the worst thing. We all know the horrible things that take place on earth. Really wicked stuff, unspeakable stuff. Nothing compared to hell. Nothing. It does not compare. It is a place of darkness, pain, suffering. There is no love. There is no friendship. There's no teamwork. There's no companionship. There's no joy. There's no kindness. There is only power and hatred. That is all the demons possess. And our bodies, the flesh, which while on earth is a barrier against the powers of the evil one. It protects us. It tempts us. It makes us weak in some ways. But it also prevents the devil from having full power over us. And in hell, the body is gone. He can touch you now. And it is a possibility for each and every one of us. Damnation is on the table. And that should hearken our minds back to the book of Proverbs or Psalm 111. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. It is a simple recognition. He has all the power. I have none of the power. And if I end up in eternal hellfire, it is just. It's not a mistake. I deserve to be there. I have chosen to be there. I have no one to blame but myself, and I'm never, ever getting out. It is for eternity. Feel better? I don't. But it's true, we have to preach about hell sometimes. We have to preach about all sorts of subjects sometimes. But my second thought when watching all these commentaries, reading all this stuff, it's like, why are all of these people who are well-versed in the teachings of the church, they teach theology, catechize for a living, do online commentary in the Catholic world, why are all of them so concerned about the same thing, have such a great desire to hear the homily I just gave? Because if they're talking about it, I can assume some people are thinking about it. And the theme that I got, the impression I got from them, was that the lady doesn't believe in hell. I don't think that's true. I think most Catholics, maybe they don't fully understand heaven and hell, but most Catholics understand there's heaven and there's hell. People go to both. Jesus says these things. I think what they're getting at is a deeper sort of issue that we're seeing play out in the wider world. Here in church and outside of the church, people want to know that it's real. They want to know that the stakes are high. They want to. We got skin in the game, right? It's not just all for nothing. All these sacrifices, all these rules, all this way of living that is more difficult than the way other people live. And I get that. I get that. Because if hell's not a possibility, if it's not real, if you and I don't have to worry about it, if it was never on the table to begin with, then what's the point of the crucifixion? Jesus' sacrifice is meaningless if we're not saved from anything. The great symbol of our faith should remind us not just of the cost of salvation, but that we were saved from something horrible, something that we deserve. The punishment for sin is death. And all of us have fallen short of the grace of God. But because of His sacrifice, it's not a reality for us. It is not our destiny. It is not inevitable. And so while I understand the critiques that I heard, and I think there's some truth to them, they clearly influenced my homily. As a priest, I more so want you all to focus on where we're going, not what we're fleeing from. positive motivation moves people a lot better than negative motivation. You need both, and they're both real. They're both true. But by keeping our eyes fixed to heaven, keeping our heads raised up, we don't fall into a trembling fear and an inability to act, a desire simply to retreat into the self out of fear of doing something wrong. Instead, we boldly move forward towards something good, towards eternity. And while that fear of damnation always sits right in the back of our minds, as it should, it does not overwhelm us. Because we know more so than avoiding something evil, we are pursuing something good. And I hope, brothers and sisters, that will make our feet all the swifter.